everyone, this is Renee Romeo of ReneeRomeo.com. Today you're learning 7 ways to lace shoes with DIY shoelaces. I'm going to show you exactly how to make a shoelace in any length out of any type of material that's appropriate, and I'm also going to show you 7 unique ways to lace your shoes so that you stand out from the crowd. So let's see what you need to get started. So you only need a few simple tools to accomplish this project. The first one is a pair of fabric scissors. Mine are nice and sharp. I also have a pair of scissors for general cutting. Now these are also nice and sharp, and the way that you get a nice sharp blade is you can go ahead and visit my How to Sharpen Knives video, and it'll show you how to get a nice sharp edge on all the blades around your home too. I have a pair of needle nose pliers. These are the ones that are tapered at the tip. Now you really do need tapered because we're working on little tiny pieces with this project today, and this gives you really great control. You also need a heavy-duty needle or pin and some matches, some good old-fashioned matches for this. You need a cloth measuring tape. So you also need some clear tape for this project, and the clear tape that I have has a satin finish. Please don't use magic tape. That's the one that has that white opaque finish to it. You don't want that for this project. You also need to make aglets. Now aglets are the little tips on every single shoelace out there, and you can make them out of plastic or metal. So we're doing both today. I'm showing you both versions, but what you need here in order to make the plastic, these are little tubes that you can buy at your big box store. You find these in the electrical department, and so these are heat shrink tubing pieces. So the heat shrink tubing pieces that I'm using today are 3/32 to 3/64. You can also get these up to 5/32, so anywhere in that range is perfect for this project. Then I've also purchased some metal aglets, and I have them in all different colors, so gold, silver, bronze, and black, and these actually we're going to be crimping together with our needle nose pliers to get them to stay on the tips of all of our fabric. I have a vast variety of ribbon and trim and cording and roping, so we're just going to play with all of this stuff and see what looks best on what style lace. And so I'm so excited to get started with this. I've been meaning to do this for a really long time, so let's get going. The first lace that I'm going to make for you today is with this super cute gingham ribbon. Now really the ideal width for every single lace pattern that I'm going to show you is 3/8 of an inch, and this one happens to be 3/8 of an inch. So just as an FYI, file that away whenever you're looking for whatever type of material to use as a lace. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of fold this over. I'll take a small piece of tape and I'm just going to wrap this around the edge as tightly as possible. Now it doesn't have to be all that neat, and you can see mine isn't, so I'll take that pair of scissors and trim off that tape. Then I'll take an aglet. Now this metal aglet right here, you could see has a sort of trough in here. This is what accepts the ribbon to go through it, and then there's a little tooth here that's going to crimp over the edge. So let me just show you how this works. So now that I have this taped, I can slide it in the trough pretty easily, get it all the way to the end, and then I can go ahead and start crimping a little bit with the needle nose pliers. Now if your material is kind of peeking out here, you could take that heavy duty needle or pin and slide it in that trough just to keep it down. Then you'll go ahead and take your needle nose pliers again and get this nice and firmly secure. Now I'm not using a whole lot of pressure here. I don't want to force this, and I don't want to bend it all out of shape. So it's just real easy pressure here. But the most important thing that you want to look at and look for is there's a sharp edge right here, a little lip. You're going to need to really crimp that down well. So that looks really good. It's really well in there, and it's not going to pull out. And you can see how the aglets worked out on all different kinds of materials. Now in a case where you have a shoe or boot that has a very tiny opening, an aglet like this is going to be too large to fit through. So your only choice is to use the plastic tubing. Now the plastic tubing does need to be melted. This needs to have a match applied to it. Now this might be something that a child couldn't do on their own, but you know what? It's not going to get all that hot. We're just going to be touching it very ever so slightly. So what we're going to do here is we're taking a tiny piece of tape, we're folding this up as tight as possible. staples. So you really can't use very thick material with this plastic tubing because it's so tiny to fit it into that hole. So all we're going to do here is just kind of wrap this a little bit, and I've trimmed the end. So you can go ahead and you can just insert this into the tubing. Now all we're going to do here is just keep twisting this until you get maybe 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch into that tubing, just like that. So this is in far enough. I can kind of feel where it stops. That's just plenty to be into that tubing. So we'll go ahead and trim that off. Then we're going to take our match. Now go ahead and light that. You're not holding this up onto this surface very much. So see, you can kind of see there we go. It's doing a really good job of melting around that. Now you can put your match out. Now you could also get in there with your fingers and straighten anything out that needs straightening. And then you can go back in with your scissors and you can trim this off. So this is one of my all-time favorites. It's so nice and neat looking. This is something that a guy or a girl can do. The girl can use it with a bow, or if it's for a guy, he can actually knot this in behind this eyelet here and then tuck the laces into the shoe itself. So that it's a really clean look for a guy, just like that. Then what I'm going to do here, I'd like to demonstrate how to do this. And I have this really great ribbon. You can see this is just married. I think this is really great because I know brides like to change their shoes out for dancing, and this might be a really great option. You know, having a pair of Converse with a cute pair of sneakers underneath their gown. So what I'm going to do here, I've located the halfway mark. This is the halfway mark. I'm going to try to isolate this. So what I'm doing is I'm taking one aglet and I'm putting it in one side, and then taking the aglet and putting it in the other, and then I'm just going to pull these nice and taut. So the very first one, now you're doing every other one. So we're scooting up here to number 3, keeping that nice and tight, and then this one is going to go up to number 2. So then we can take this and we're going to go on the outside going in every single time. So I guess it's going to go upside down every once in a while. We'll scoot up, skipping one, coming up this way, and then this one goes over the top and goes in. And we're going to skip one on this side and go to the next one. And then this one will come across and go over the top. So we're just moving this out of the way. Oh look, and we got it just married in here. That's great. And then this one can come out this side, and then this one is going to come over the top and go in and through. So that is super adorable for any bride, and I could even see if you had custom printed ribbons, if you were in cheer or something like that, you could actually get your mascot's name, your school name printed on ribbon and do a great job with this ladder lace. So there's the ladder lace. You can see you get 3 different looks out of it just by changing up what type of ribbon you use, or this is really just a trim with a couple little bows here and there, and it really feminizes a combat boot. So the next lace is called a lattice lace. It's one of my favorites. It looks really complicated, but it's not. So I have a 42-inch piece of 1/8 inch wide ribbon. It's satin, and I've actually beefed up the tips here of that satin because it's so narrow. It needs to actually have a lot more underneath that aglet to hold it in place, nice and secure. So I have the very center located, and this is nice and tight, and you'll notice I'm starting underneath. So what I need to do is I need to do the mirror image of what's going on here, and I can choose to do either side. It really doesn't make any difference. Oh, what I'm going to do here is skip up to number 4. And I'm always working on top, and what you need to do when you're lacing shoes is just make sure everything is laying nice and straight. Then I'm going to hop up to the next one on the same side, just like this. I'll go down to number 2, and I'm always working on the top side. I'm never working underneath. I only started that first row underneath, and then twisting this into place, just like that. I'm going to hop up to the one above it, and then I'm just going to end right here at the top. So now that this is nice and neat, we'll start with the other side. But what we need to do here is make a mirror image of what's going on this side. So whereas this one started on the top, this one is also going to start on the top. So we need to weave this one underneath, over and underneath. And then what we're going to do is go in this number 4 slot just like that. And then we'll skip to the next one up, come out, and we're going to do just the opposite of what we did here. So we're going to go above, below, and above, and then come into number 2. Make sure that's nice and straight. Now we're going to skip to number 3. And then with the next one, you're going under, over, and under. And this is just like a basket weave, so it's pretty easy to get the hang of. You're just going to go ahead and put that in the top. Complete mirror images of one another. So the third version I'm showing you, I'm calling the zigzag lace. So for the men's version, I've done white and black, and for the ladies version, I'm going to be doing this on a combat boot out of this beautiful kind of sparkly organza. So this is just going to come again from the bottom. So we're starting out at the bottom, and what we need to do here is we need to pull this all the way through. I have a 60-inch piece of ribbon here because it needs to go through quite a bit of the boot, and so I'm just going to estimate here how much lacing I'm going to need at the top. Now this is going to get tucked in through the inside of the shoe, and so we're going to do the same thing with the other lace. So this one is going to go into the inside, and you can see here with these eyelets being so small, it really is necessary to have this plastic aglet. You'd never get the metal one through here. Well, that looks just gorgeous, and we have 2 ends coming out of each eyelet. So all we're going to do is just tie this into a beautiful bow. And that is ultra feminine. The next lacing style I'd like to show you, I'm calling the two-tone. This is really great. I've got some fun rickrack just in time for Christmas. It's a great way to celebrate the holidays or school spirit days. So I've actually made a shoelace out of shoelace material. And I'm just going to go ahead here and start under and making sure that all the rest are going over. So I need to find the very center of this. I'm just going to pull it nice and tight, making sure that that's nice and flat along the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and skip every other one, but I need to make sure that I'm going in the top every time I do this. So I'm just going to neaten out every lace, and we'll just start off here and go on the third one on this side as well. Then I can go ahead and bring in my secondary color, that really cute gingham, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. So this is going to start underneath and going up through that second one, and then I'm just going to go ahead and go underneath this X here over to number 2 on this side. Now that that's situated, I can go ahead and do the exact same thing on this side. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go over to the top and the next rung right there, making sure that's laying nice and flat. And then I'll go ahead and I'll go over the top of this one into the next rung. Now that is adorable, and believe it or not, they're exactly the same. So this next style I'm calling the diagonal, and believe it or not, both of these shoes are done exactly the same way, and you can really see how playing with the width of ribbon changes the look entirely. So I have a grosgrain ribbon here, and it's only printed on one side, and I have metal aglets attached. I'm starting on the very bottom rung, and I'm being very aware of how all of this is laying because I want that printed side facing up. So now that I've found the center, I'm going to go ahead and weave these in and out, and really I just need to pay attention to the bottom right and the top left. So in this case it's going to be bottom left and top right. So let's go ahead and start with this pattern, making sure that I have the pattern facing up as I start. So this is going to be the first rung, and really what this is going to create is I'm just going to create kind of a chevron pattern. So this is going up over the top, making sure that this is facing up so that I can get that nice diagonal going in this direction this time. So then this one actually goes up this way, underneath, and then we can twist this one around and go up and over the top on this side. Super cute. The next style I'm showing you, I'm calling the bow. And even though it has a feminine name, I think it's really masculine looking when you use regular shoelace material. You don't put a bow on the top. All I'm doing is simply knotting it behind the eyelet and putting it in the shoe itself. And it's a heavy duty material. So with this next shoe next to it, I'm using a real flimsy material. This is just really delicate bow trim, and we're going to get a completely different look out of it. It's going to be laced underneath that starting ladder, if you will, and pulled up. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to take the left side and fish it through the left side, out the side here, and then you'll take the right side and do the exact same thing. Then you're going to be going up and over. So you're going over that flap, making sure everything's laying nice and flat, and then you're going to do the same thing with this one, going over and going to the other side and on top. Now that that's pulled tight, we'll go ahead and make a bow, and you can see just by changing out your materials, you get a completely different look. Anytime you'd like to lace your shoes with ribbon that's an inch or wider, my recommendation is going to be just to lace it up the way it came out of the store box. A lot of it gets lost in translation, so you might as well just keep going with the way that it was and let the bow speak for itself. And there you have it. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching 7 ways to lace shoes with DIY shoelaces just as much as I enjoyed putting all of this together. And you know what? I bet it wasn't as hard as you thought it would be. And kids, please don't get the matches until an adult comes home. You need adult supervision for these because you don't want to burn the house down. Safety first. This is Renee Romeo of ReneeRomeo.com. Please go to my website where you can find other projects like this in my arts and crafts playlist. And if you enjoyed watching this, please like, share, subscribe, and follow, and I'll keep bringing you great projects like this in the future.